Make sure you subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button. And to never miss another lecture from Miracle, hit the bell icon to get regular updates on English literature.
Hello and welcome back. In this video, I'm solving another 10 questions from paper 3. That means this becomes part 2. And if you want me to continue solving the papers, you have to like and comment. You have to give the feedback. Then only it will encourage me to keep on doing. I'm doing for your purpose only. And as I already told you before that we are beginning the new NET batches here. So please come and join Miracle. You have to think out of the box. You have to do something different. Everything is not available where you are already there. You have to explore. You have to gain new experience in life. And if you are passionate about literature, as I already told you, you will learn a lot of new things here, and you will learn new strategies, and you will start learning L of literature here.
Question number 11. One of the plays among the following contains the characters Col, Gib, Dan and Mac. It is not Dan, it is Do. There is a misprint here. So identify the play. The correct answer is the second Shepherd's play. Now, this is a medieval play. That means written in the medieval times, and which were called as the mystery play. Not the mystery play of today or the novels of today, but the mystery plays which were written during medieval times, just to make the people aware of the sins, of the virtues, of good and bad things, and of course even Bible, because they were so illiterate and poor that they could not afford Bible, handwritten Bible. So these plays were held in their areas so that all people could see them and learn from them. So this is also one of the mystery plays where there are 3 shepherds, Col, Gib and Do, and Mac is the thief who steals one of their sheep and then tells that his wife is having a baby. When these 3 visit to gift the baby, they found their own sheep there, and this way there is a punishment for that man later on in the story. So all these stories, they come from either Old Testament or New Testament. So the correct answer here is the second Shepherd's play. Question number 12. Teresa, in Milan Kundera's novel, The Unbearing Lightness of Being, troubled by Thomas' promiscuity, falls an easy prey to jealousy, fear and nightmares. Which of the following are the terrible dreams she has? Now there are 4 choices and we have to find the right combination. So the correct answer is she dreams of cats attacking her, and she dreams that she is dead, stripped of her clothes and plagued by other naked corpses. Now, cats in Czech means pretty women. The Unbearable Lightness of Being was written in 1984 by Milan Kundera, and this is set in Prague, the capital of Czech, in the 1960s and 70s, when the Soviet Union attacked and invaded Czechoslovakia. Now, this man, the writer, also was banished by the communists because he wrote against them, and he was in hiding, and then he settled down in France, although he was a Czech citizen. This is a story about a couple, Thomas and Teresa. Thomas is obsessed with the physical relationships with many women. Teresa is a photojournalist and she loves him and has only one relationship, but then to imitate her husband, she goes under a physical relationship with an engineer, but then she quits The major theme of this novel are love and sex. So we can say that lightness is love and sex, and then we can categorize into postmodern novel structure because it questions your existence, it questions your desires. There are many philosophical themes also discussed by the writer, and the events are non-chronological, non-linear. Therefore, it is a postmodern novel. Question number 13. The opening lines of Wordsworth's Immortality Ode. There was a time when meadow, grove, and stream, the earth and every common sight, to me did seem, apparelled in celestial light, the glory and freshness of a dream, closely resembles Coleridge's lines. There was a time when earth and sea and skies, the bright green vale and the forest's dark recess, with all things lay before mine eyes in steady loveliness. Identify the Coleridge poem. So the answer is second, The Mad Monk. Now, Wordsworth's poem, Immortality Ode, his full name is Intimations of Immortality. Now, whatever he's saying here is that whatever he used to visualize, he used to see the best in nature, he can see no more. And this resembles the same in The Mad Monk by Coleridge, his best friend. They both together worked on lyrical ballads, which marks the beginning of Romantic era, that is 1798. And there Wordsworth wrote a preface in the 1800 edition that poetry is the spontaneous overflow of feelings recollected in tranquility, and in 1802 he attached an appendix to his preface, and this is considered to be the authorized version of lyrical ballads. So the right answer here is The Mad Monk. Question number 14. Christina Rossetti's Goblin Market, a rare blend of allegory and fairy tale world, presents the story of two sisters, Laura and Lizzie. Which of the following is not true about the enchanted world that the poem unravels? So the answer is the third one, Laura, who goes to the market again, does not see the goblins but hears only their shrill cry piercing the air. Now, how do we come to this answer is that there are two sisters, Laura and Lizzie, and they hear the sound of the goblin market from their house, and they're trying to ignore, but then it is so enticing that Laura decides to go out, whereas Lizzie wants her not to. But then she's too curious to go out, and when she goes out, she sees that they're selling some kind of fruit, and in exchange of her golden hair instead. So she takes the fruit, which looks very tasty, she eats it up and comes inside, and she starts to pine away, she starts becoming weaker, and Lizzie is worried. She goes out and sees those goblin men, and they try to seduce her also with the same tricks which they did with Laura. So Lizzie is very firm, she does not open her mouth, although they try hard to squeeze the fruit inside her mouth. So what happens? The juice is all over her mouth. She runs inside the house. When Laura sees her, she kisses her, the juice of her sister's cheeks, and miraculously she is healed. This is a kind of a fairy tale, and this teaches the bond between the two sisters. It is a blend of allegory, and we can find the other three choices already there. The golden lock and the tear more than the pearl, or say the Ginny, a girl who ate the goblin's fruit, and also her hair grew thin and grey and all that stuff. So the correct answer is Laura, who goes to the market again, does not see the goblins but hear only their shrill cry piercing the air. This is not there in the poem, so therefore the correct answer. Question number 15. In which of these prisons is Defoe's character Moll Flanders born? So the correct answer is Newgate. Yes, Moll Flanders, the famous novel written by Daniel Defoe. Moll Flanders was born in a prison called Newgate. Her mother was criminal and was exiled to America. Moll was sent with a nurse where she grew up. The complete name of the novel is The Fortunes and Misfortunes of the Famous Moll Flanders. Daniel Defoe had already become famous with his novel Robinson Crusoe in 1719, and this novel was published, Moll Flanders was published in 1722. And this novel is based partially on the life of Moll King, a London criminal whom Defoe met while visiting Newgate Prison. Question number 16. In which poem does Judith write, "Lemon the eraser of native culture" in the following lines? The song is gone, the dance is secret with the dancers in the earth, the ritual useless, and the tribal story lost in an alien tale. The correct answer is Bora Ring. So these rings, the earthen rings, were known as Bora, and they were usually part of a complex of 2 or 3 rings, and they were used in man-making ceremonies or male initiation ceremonies. So here the writer laments on losing the indigenous life, the culture being lost because of the absence of objects and ideas. So this is usually in 2 perspectives. One is from the settler's view of perspective, and the other is of the native's view. You know, the settlers, they came to a new land, evaded the people settling there already. So the natives were destroyed, the settlers also lost touch of their own culture, they were exposed to something new. So all this chant is there, and the tone is of regret. So the correct answer is Bora Ring. Question number 17. Years before Winston Smith, the protagonist of George Orwell's dystopia, 1984, got in evidence the party's dishonesty. What is it? There are various choices, but the most probable choice, or correct one, is third. A photograph which proves that some citizen accused of a crime was out of the country while it was committed. Now, this classic novel was published in 1949. It was very different. Dystopia is contrasted to utopia. Utopia is a government which everyone wants, but dystopia is a government which nobody wants. It is controlled by one invisible person, and here it is called Big Brother. And the concept of Big Boss and Big Brother in UK have been taken from the same novel, that you are being watched 24/7 and your filming is done on a telescreen. So for the very first time, new words entered in the literary genre like Big Brother, Doublethink, Thought Crime, Newspeak, telescreen, of course, room number 101, and of course that 2 plus 2 is not 4, but 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. That means your thinking was also controlled by the unseen person who was governing the complete land. Question number 18. The Indian Queen is a heroic tragedy in rhymed couplets by John Dryden, and this is the correct answer. Now, this was written by Sir Robert Howard, the brother-in-law of John Dryden. So Howard and Dryden wrote it together, and it was first performed in 1664. And there was some incidental music added by John Bannister, and later it was created into a new semi-opera by the same name by the composer Henry Purcell. So the correct answer is 1. A heroic tragedy in rhymed couplets by John Dryden. Question number 19. In James Coetzee's Disgrace, David Lurie is working on an opera on the life of one of the Romantic poets. Who's the poet? And the correct answer is Lord Byron. Now, James Coetzee, who had even won the Nobel Prize in Literature, and that time he was staying in South Africa, and later on he shifted to Australia. Now, this is a story about 52-year-old Professor David Lurie, who had lost all interest in love and sex until he meets one of his own students who had taken the romantic course, Melanie. Now, he starts stalking her, and this becomes open, and his complaint reaches the university where the investigation is done. He loses his job, his status, and as the title says, his dignity. So he had nothing left in Cape Town, and therefore he shifts to Salem in the Eastern Cape where his daughter lives. There he starts working with her in the garden, vegetation and all, and there he spends time working on his new academic project, an opera based on the love affair between this British poet Lord Byron and his mistress Teresa Guiccioli, who was already married. She was married just 3 days before she met Lord Byron. That is, she was married on 19th of January 1818 and she met Byron on 22nd of January. And it all happened in Italy when he was writing the first 5 cantos of Don Juan. So it is said that she also wrote the biographical account of Lord Byron's life in Italy. So the correct answer is Lord Byron. Question number 20. And this is a question about assertion and reason. So assertion. There's no unity or absolute source of the myth. And the reason is the focus or the source of the myth are always shadows and virtualities which are elusive, unactualizable and non-existent in the first place. Any search for the discursive unity in the myth is therefore misplaced. So the correct answer is 1. Both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Because, of course, when the history becomes too old and it goes through the writing of different hands, it becomes a myth. So it is just a shadow. There is nothing which can be placed real in it. So the reason explains the assertion. The correct answer is first.
I hope you all must have liked this video. So now you are required to like and comment on the same. Please do share it with your friends, share it in the group so that it reaches many people who are wanting to know more and more about literature. Thank you so much. Take care until we meet next. Bye-bye.